So, do you always carry that thing around with you? I tried to keep my voice steady, but the sight of the knife he was twirling in his hand wasn't exactly comforting. We were sitting at a diner, one of those cozy places with vinyl booths and checkered floors. Except tonight, it felt anything but cozy. I glanced around, hoping someone might notice my discomfort, but the place was quiet, too quiet. "It's for protection," he said, his eyes not leaving the blade as he spun it between his fingers, a strange grin forming on his lips. "You never know what kind of people you'll run into. How did I get here? Why did I agree to this?" I had met him on an app, the kind you try when all your friends are settling down and your mom starts dropping hints about your biological clock. He seemed normal, cute in his profile pictures with a job, a dog, and an appreciation for the simple things in life. We exchanged a few messages, nothing deep, but enough to think we might hit it off. When he suggested we meet for dinner, I thought, why not? It was a public place. What's the worst that could happen? This was the worst that could happen. I was sitting across from a guy who thought it was perfectly normal to bring a knife to dinner. "So, what kind of protection do you need in a diner?" I asked, trying to sound casual but feeling the sweat start to form at the base of my neck. The overhead lights suddenly seemed too bright, like spotlights on a stage where I was about to become the main act in a bad horror movie. He shrugged, still playing with the knife, his eyes finally meeting mine. There was something unsettling about his stare, the way he tilted his head like he was studying me, deciding what he thought of me. "You never know," he said again, his voice slow, deliberate. "People are unpredictable." I let out a nervous laugh, hoping humor would ease the tension. "Well, I'm not that unpredictable. Just your average girl trying to get through a burger without any sharp objects involved." He didn't laugh. Instead, he finally set the knife down, but the damage was done. My heart was racing, and I was already planning my escape. How could I leave without causing a scene? Would he get offended if I excused myself for the bathroom and never came back? The waitress arrived with our food, 2 steaming plates of burgers and fries, her smile bright and friendly. "Anything else I can get for you?" she asked, oblivious to the tension hanging between us. I shook my head quickly, trying to convey with my eyes that she shouldn't leave, that maybe she could stay and be a buffer between me and Mr. Knife Enthusiast. He picked up his burger, took a massive bite, and chewed slowly, watching me the whole time. "I like women who can handle themselves," he said suddenly, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "You seem tough, not easily scared." Was this a compliment? Was this supposed to make me feel better? I took a small bite of my food, trying to keep my hands from shaking. "Thanks," I muttered, not even tasting the burger. My mind was working overtime, thinking of ways to get out of this without ending up on a true crime podcast. The conversation, or rather, the lack of it, continued in awkward, nerve-wracking silence. I kept glancing at the clock on my phone, wondering how long I had to stay before it was acceptable to leave. Maybe I could fake an emergency or pretend my friend needed me. Anything to get away from this nightmare. Finally, he broke the silence. "I'm not like other guys, you know?" His voice had dropped lower, almost conspiratorial. "I don't believe in playing games." "That's great," I replied, forcing a smile. "No one likes games." He leaned in closer, his eyes narrowing. "Some people deserve to be played with, though. They don't see what's coming until it's too late." Okay, that was it. I had to get out of there. "I think I'm going to head out," I said, standing up quickly, grabbing my bag. "This has been interesting, but I've got an early morning." For a moment, he just stared at me, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly he smiled, a chilling, slow curl of his lips. Yeah, I bet you do. I didn't wait for him to say anything else. I threw some cash on the table, enough to cover my meal and the tip, and bolted for the door, my heart pounding in my ears. The cold night air hit me like a slap, and I didn't stop walking until I was halfway down the street, my breath coming in quick, shallow bursts. As I rounded the corner, I pulled out my phone, immediately blocking his number. Lesson learned. Never trust profile pictures. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just narrowly avoided something bad, something worse than just a bad date. There was a lingering sense of unease, a heavy weight in my chest that didn't go away even as I drifted off to sleep. But the worst part? The next morning, I found a message from him on the app. Had a great time last night. Let's do it again soon. Yeah, that's never happening.